In the early 1970s, law enforcement operated entirely on paper. Police departments had no computerized databases, no DNA profiling, and almost no mechanism to share information across state lines. If a detective in Washington wanted to compare notes with a sheriff in Utah, they had to pick up a telephone. In this analog environment, a terrifying pattern emerged in the Pacific Northwest. Vibrant, college-aged women started vanishing. They were taken from sorority houses, well-lit streets, and seemingly safe collegiate environments in broad daylight. The boldness of these attacks peaked in July 1974 at Lake Sammamish State Park. On a crowded Sunday afternoon, surrounded by hundreds of people, a man approached multiple women. 2 of them walked away with him. Neither was seen alive again. The Lake Sammamish abductions made one thing clear to investigators. Whoever they were looking for did not hunt in the shadows. He operated in plain sight. Witnesses at the lake described a handsome young man wearing his arm in a sling. He asked for help carrying items to a light-colored Volkswagen Beetle, and he introduced himself as Ted. As thousands of citizens contacted the police, 2 women, his longtime girlfriend Liz Klopfer and a former Seattle officer named Ann Rule, independently came forward with his name. Yet detectives filed these warnings away without aggressive follow-up. The suspect was a law student. He had no serious criminal record and wore a suit. To investigators in the 1970s, he did not align with their profile of a violent deviant. His name was Theodore Robert Bundy. For decades, popular culture has framed his ability to evade capture as the work of a criminal mastermind. The reality is far less cinematic. Bundy survived on systemic negligence. He weaponized a societal bias that assumed well-spoken, educated men were inherently safe, moving freely while police searched for a monster that looked the part. His psychological development was marked by fractures. He discovered early in life that his parents were actually his grandparents, and his sister was his mother. Years later, an abrupt rejection by his wealthy, sophisticated college girlfriend, Stephanie Brooks, calcified his deep-seated resentments. When his violent campaign began, he targeted a highly specific demographic, young women with long, dark hair parted in the middle. Profilers would later identify this strict consistency as a deliberate, sadistic enactment of power and control. To camouflage this pathology, he constructed a functional public resume. He worked on Republican gubernatorial campaigns, wrote a rape prevention pamphlet, answered calls at a crisis hotline. This resume generated a powerful halo effect. When local police encountered him, they saw a peer. They saw a politically active, aspiring lawyer who projected civic responsibility. His demographic privilege provided his strongest protection. He was granted the benefit of the doubt in situations where anyone else would have been immediately detained. In the fall of 1974, Bundy relocated to Salt Lake City to attend law school. As soon as he arrived, the Pacific Northwest disappearances stopped, and a new string of abductions began in the Mountain West. Washington, Utah, and Colorado police managed parallel investigations, unaware of one another. Missing persons data remained trapped in regional filing cabinets. Bundy exploited these blind spots. Treating the interstate highway system as his hunting ground, he continually reset the investigative clock by stepping into new jurisdictions. The first major investigative break arrived during a routine traffic stop in August 1975. A Utah Highway Patrol sergeant pulled over a Volkswagen Beetle for driving without headlights and discovered a ski mask, a crowbar, and handcuffs in the passenger seat. Ordinary physical evidence recovered during a routine stop finally outpaced his ability to perform normalcy, bringing his momentum to a sudden halt in a Granger parking lot. Extradited to Colorado to face murder charges, he invoked his right to serve as his own legal counsel. In a display of institutional leniency, the court granted the accused murderer unshackled access to the courthouse law library to prepare his defense. Left completely unsupervised, he opened a second-story window and jumped into the snow below. He evaded a massive manhunt for 8 days before being recaptured, shivering in a stolen car. 6 months later, he struck again. Having deliberately starved himself to shed 30 pounds, he climbed through a poorly inspected light fixture in his Glenwood Springs jail cell, crawled through the ceiling, and walked out the front door. The jail staff did not notice he was missing for 15 hours. These dual failures of the justice system put an organized predator back on the street, guaranteeing a final, preventable phase of violence. He fled to Tallahassee, Florida, where his methodical approach dissolved into a frenzy. In a single night at the Chi Omega sorority house, he attacked 4 sleeping women, killing 2. Weeks later, he abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach before finally being captured by a patrol officer in Pensacola. With his final arrest, the story transitioned from regional police work to national broadcast entertainment. The Florida proceedings became the first nationally televised murder trials in American history. The camera feeds birthed a dangerous cultural archetype. Viewers tuned in to watch a conventionally handsome man argue legal motions. Women sent him fan mail, and groupies attended the hearings. The televised spectacle actively distorted the public's understanding of the events, elevating the myth of a charismatic rogue while pushing the victims' lives into the background. Inside the courtroom, the prosecution built its case on nascent forensic odontology, matching his distinct teeth to a bite mark left at the Chi Omega cinia. The defense countered by arguing that the intense media coverage had irreparably contaminated the jury pool. Bundy utilized his legal training to turn the capital murder trial into a theatrical abuse of the judicial process. He paced the floor, cross-examined the police officers who pursued him, and even legally married a witness while she testified on the stand. The performance failed to persuade the juries. He received 3 separate death sentences, and after exhausting his appeals and confessing to 30 murders to buy time, he was executed in the electric chair in January 1989. The justice system succeeded in stopping him, but only after a decade of institutional errors allowed the violence to continue. The devastation forced law enforcement to evolve. The investigation directly influenced the creation of the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit and the establishment of VCAP, a national database designed to track and link multi-state criminal patterns. To understand this history, we have to strip away the myth of the criminal genius and remember the staggering human cost left in his wake. Monsters rarely look the way we expect them to, and when society relies on outdated biases to define who is dangerous and who is safe, it is the innocent who pay the ultimate price.